All right. We are back. I'm so excited to continue our conversation with Christopher Shaw, the man who has facilitated so much for me through MerkabaRetreats.com.
So
Welcome.
great to be here again. It's so great to be with you. And I love that we are sharing this information with the world. And yeah, I look forward to our talk today.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much, like I said, for being here. But also, this really has been a transformational experience, is why I continue to talk about it this far after the retreat now. I did my retreat in early April, and here we are coming up the end of May. And the blessings of that transformational experience just continue to unfold for me in my life and in ways I can't even explain. So maybe you can kind of help the audience and me quite frankly understand all that one experiences on one of your retreats.
Absolutely. Well, like I tell people, it's 10 years of therapy in 6 days, and it really is. And it probably is a lot more than that because we're looking at 10 human years. But, the retreat allows you to let go of lifetimes of trauma and pain and suffering and anything that no longer serves your highest good here in the here and the now, right? And kind of connects you to you. It connects you to that capital S self, right? That spirit that's alive and well inside of each of us, right? And the effects of the retreat are long lasting and eternal. The work that you're doing, on your body, mind, and spirit, if and only if you continue doing what you need to do when you get back from your retreat, those beautiful gifts are going to just grow and expand just like you.
Mhm.
It's really important when you get back from a retreat like this to continue some kind of daily spiritual practice, whether that's prayer, mantra, yoga, meditation, quiet time, going to the beach, like, and then taking care of your body, eating healthy, and if you're in recovery, not going back to using drugs, and really just taking care of yourself and surrounding yourself with other people who are higher vibrational and who are filled with love and support, can really be helpful as well. And it's been really beautiful to watch you grow over the last month and a half and continue to expand and continue to evolve. And every day it's like a new beginning in the now, but it's more expansive, right? And as you continue to tune into who you are and why you're here, and carrying these beautiful gifts out into the world. So, it's a beautiful 6 day experience we with sacred earth medicines that we use here at Merkaba Retreats to facilitate the healing process. We use three medicines here at Merkaba Retreats. We use Bufo, which is 5-MeO-DMT. We use Combo, which is an Amazonian tree frog, and then we use psilocybin. Today, Dale will be sharing with us about his psilocybin ceremony. We do the psilocybin ceremony toward the end of the week because we want your body to be purified or kind of clean and clear, as I like to call it, before. Right, so that you have a beautiful, positive experience rather than an experience that could be scary. A lot of people will share about psilocybin ceremonies that they've had at home that they've done themselves without any kind of a shamanic practitioner or any kind of guide that's held a sacred space for them. And they come to me and they say, I'm kind of scared about doing a psilocybin ceremony because, I did one in my early 20s, or I did one in college, or I did one last week. And it was awful. Like snakes came and ate me. And it was just really, which I think would be so cool. I'm like, come on, snake, eat me. Like today I would be like, welcome that. The snakes are really cool, right? Like to embody the snake and just to be able to shed our skins like snakes do, that is powerful, right?
Right.
And so, but that can be really scary to someone who's not in the right place and protected, right? And so what the combo does is the combo is it's a medicine that is made up of 9 peptides that intuitively treats the body, physically, emotionally, spiritually. It's not a psychedelic, but it goes into your system and it's purgative, so it causes you to purge. But we only give you water, so you're not purging food. And it's a beautiful kind of purging experience because we store trauma in the body as cellularly and in the muscles, and so when you purge, you're purging out trauma, you're purging out memories, you're purging out toxins from your digestive system and from your body. I mean, it's just an incredible healing, after the combo. And after combo, you're hungry, right? And you want to eat like a huge breakfast. And then you feel like Superman. You're like, yeah. And then you look 10 years younger. It's like amazing.
Yeah.
And so by the end of the week, after doing three or four combos and three or four bufos, you're and a sweat lodge and Kundalini yoga every morning, and eating healthy and meditation and massage, like you're ready, right? You're ready for that beautiful psilocybin ceremony. And it's just so extra special. It's so extra special. The psilocybin that we use during our retreats was cultivated with so much love, from the time that they were spores until the time that they go into your body and they become you and you become one with their vibration. And I can't wait for Dale to share with us about his experience today. So,
Mm. Yes, thank
over
you.
to you.
Yeah. The one thing I wasn't, well, there are a couple things I wasn't really expecting. And also now having seen other people go through the same process and really paying attention to you and what you're posting online. And it's the before and after pictures that I just can't believe. I mean, talk about the body keeps the score. I mean, wow. I mean, these people are transformed on every level, even physically. That has been a surprise.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's incredible. It's funny. I tell people, I even told Dale this on his retreat, and it doesn't really hit me until like day three or four. And on day three or four, we're usually like at lunch or something. And I looked at Dale and I said, you know what? You're so much nicer and easier to be around today.
Yeah.
And he was like, what do you mean? And I'm like, well, I didn't realize it until now, but it's like when retreat participants, come in on that first day, like, whoa, it's and I'm really in tune and very sensitive and just can pick up on everything and just in tune with, the vibration. And so I remember when Dale came in on his first day, and it's not that he's like was filled with darkness, but he was heavy. It was like a very heavy kind of energy, a lot of stuff in his energy field that was not fun,
Yeah.
like lifetimes of pain and trauma. And it's like by day three or four, as that lifts and that evaporates, because it really does evaporate. Like this retreat is not about peeling the layers back of the onion. This is about eliminating the onion altogether. And so as these layers are disintegrating, it's like by day three or four, I tell my wonderful participants, I'm like, oh, I can actually be around you today and be at peace. And it's like kind of fun, and it's just beautiful. It's
Yeah.
such a beautiful, 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 beautiful thing. So yeah, you can see the light, right? Because that day one picture is them coming to the retreat with all of their baggage.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I
they're
arrived there very broken after having just left my husband and going through all the trauma of what that meant and just a whole bunch of like life stuff that did feel really heavy.
Yeah. If you could see if the baggage were to show up in the picture of Dale on his day one, you might see his eyeball. I mean, there would have been so much baggage covering him, right? And like that last day, right, where he's like this, and like just like totally free, there's no baggage. There's nothing that is covering you from the light and the beauty, and the radiance that you truly are. It's like your true self emerges and emerged, right? And is like beaming with radiance. And you can really see that in the pictures. Pictures are powerful. They're
And once
powerful.
you get a feeling of that, like even now, I can tell when I need a reset in order to get back to that because I know myself that way now. I know myself as free and light and easy and, still and quiet inside and, all of these things. I think that's why integration is difficult sometimes. We should do a separate video just on integration because that
Do
is
it.
its
Let's do
own
it.
process.
Yeah, we will.
Yeah.
We will. And we do offer integration support. We have amazing alumni, that have gone through Merkaba retreats that are actually in touch with our retreat brothers and sisters before they even go on their retreats. We have alumni that reach out to them and welcome them into the Merkaba retreat family. They answer their questions. And then after the retreats are over, alumni are there to support you in your integration experience along with the facilitators. So we do offer 1 to 2 Zoom sessions. And if you need more, I mean, we're family now. So it's like we're here for each other. Dale and I, we have a unique relationship because we're doing a lot of really cool things together, out in the world to kind of carry the message of love out into the world and prosperity. And so we talk every day and multiple times a day at that. So, but other participants who I'm not involved with in those ways, we still communicate multiple times a week. They're writing me, I'm writing them, I'm checking on them. We're consistently working on that integration piece because you're right, it takes time. And look at you, you're almost 2 months in and you're still integrating, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and the other piece that you just mentioned is, so amazing to be kind of stepping into this place of higher vibrational people and have a family and have like the friendships I've developed through doing this was the most unexpected, amazing gift to just know these people and know that they've on the same path, that they're in the same place, that they too have wanted to shed what the Western world demands of us to hold and say, no, I'm not doing that. I'm going to enter the world as me, as lightness, as love, and to be a part of the paradigm shift. To just know these people is like everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we are all one, and we gravitate like attracts like and water meets its level. And as you continue to rise, in your vibration, it's like you attract those other people that are also there,
Mhm.
and then and not only do we attract like-minded folks, which is beautiful because oftentimes those of us who are on this path feel so isolated and alone, right? Like we've talked so much about our experiences and how devastating it can be to just not have anybody to talk to, right? And so going through this process, you really do have a family. Before you even come on your retreat, you have a family,
Yeah.
a community of people. And now we're all gathered on Lumara, which is
Yeah.
our beautiful digital online sanctuary, which has tons of groups and communities, and everybody is connecting on there. And it's just it's really it's so amazing how spirit is moving through us and allowing us to create these beautiful things so that we're no longer doing this alone.
And it's amazing to have a social media network that heals rather than harms. And so every time you log on, like I'm being blessed, I'm being encouraged, I'm being supported, I'm being like in all my things and I can talk about, and promote myself quite frankly in front of like-minded individuals who are there just to receive my message with a blessing rather than, oh, what are you doing or an attitude or, criticism.
Or yeah, or like opening up your messages and getting like a,
Yeah.
interesting photo that you didn't ask for, right? It's like,
Right.
what? That doesn't happen on Lumara, People are like, I love you. Have a great day.
Yeah.
Yes. If you're interested in Lumara and you want to get more information about Lumara, I would encourage you to visit merkabachurch.com. And then there's a link to Lumara, which talks about all of our communities on Lumara. There's a link to join Lumara. It is free. And yeah, check it out. Why not? Why not?
Really fun. Yeah. Okay. So back to mushrooms.
Yeah, mushrooms. Let's do it.
uh,
Okay, so if you could tell our audience um, anything they might need to know that maybe you didn't know or that you think that they should know now that you've gone through this process, that might be really helpful for them as they either come on a retreat or do their own ceremony with their own shamanic practitioner, what
yeah.
would you?
Yeah, I mean, because that was the one thing that I was the most nervous about. I had had, bad experiences in the past through like the party world, and that was kind of the baggage that I was bringing into that experience. And so I was nervous about it. And what was amazing is I didn't even say anything, but you picked up on it. And from the beginning, you started to slow walk me into that. And like each time we did a different ceremony, I was introduced to a loving medicine. And it really helped me start to see the difference between medicines and drugs. And I only knew drugs. I only knew the drug world. I only knew partying. I only knew what those things were being offered in that space, which is not what you're doing by any means. And, just the thought and care given to opening the space. So I mean, I just was bringing a lot of baggage into it, and helping me to really see the loving vibration of these medicines and see the difference between drugs and medicines. That was the most important, just because of my personal bad experiences in the past.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, these are sacred medicines. They come from the earth. They're here to heal. They've been around longer than time.
Yeah.
And we have to honor them and respect them for what they really are. Sure, are there people out there in the world that are abusing them and using them in a non-ceremonial way? Yes, but that's not what we do here.
Yeah. 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 And creating the space for, and it's hard to describe to people who don't even know what that really means, right? In terms of the vibration of the area in which we are doing ceremony, I mean, you really go to great lengths to change the vibration of the air, of the space, of the, and with songs and chants and, all these things that you create this container of space that we are held in. I mean, and it really calls in, the allies and it calls in the love and the support of, so much that's, maybe not perceived by the human meat package, but
Absolutely.
that can be felt.
Absolutely. That's called the sacred container. And the sacred container is, I create that container way before you even come on your retreat. And so there's a beautiful energetic sacred container that's wrapped around you. And if you're coming on a private retreat, it's just wrapped around you. If you're coming on a group retreat, it's wrapped around you and everyone in that retreat way before you even get here. And I think that's why the healing starts from the minute that send in your deposit or sign the papers. It's like, you're like, whoa, like, that's everything starts moving in motion and really quickly. But here, at this beautiful sacred place that we do the retreats, and we do them at various places here in Mexico and around the world. It doesn't matter where we are. We change the vibration of the place to create a sacred, safe environment for you to heal in. Right. And so for Dale joined me here in Bucerias at my home. We did a beautiful, which is otherwise known as the Christopher Shaw Shiva Temple
Yes,
here in Bucerias. It's a beautiful temple. It's a
it
beautiful
is.
temple. And, you walk in and you can smell the incense and you can feel the vibration and you can just feel the love. And, there's, there are multiple altars with flowers and pictures and trees and it's I've infused this place with the vibrations of love and healing the during the ceremonies it's like we open a portal, right? And that portal is protected, not only by me but by beings that are in other places and other realms. We're very protected and very guided during those ceremonies. And oftentimes even with the medicine, you can look around. You can actually look at the floor here, right? And this is I'm pointing at the area where we did. I guess I can show you. This is like the area not set up for ceremony right now, just set up for daily Christopher Shaw use. But like during ceremony, you can look around, right, at the floor, and you can see sacred geometry
Oh, yeah.
in concrete. You can
Yeah.
see the symbols. You can see the
Yes.
vibration. You can
Yes.
see it all around. You can see this like field all around this beautiful balcony here.
Mhm.
And it's just absolutely stunning. And so for the mushroom ceremony and all ceremonies, there's candles, there's copal, there's sage, there's mantra, there's so much love
Mhm.
that is there to
Mhm.
surround you so that you can just be,
Yeah. Yeah.
go inward and do whatever you need to do,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. No, it was a life-changing experience. I mean, all of them were, but most especially the Bufo and the psilocybin was, I mean, and again, it's hard to put into words because it's not words. It's an experience. It's a journey. It is experiencing yourself in a whole new way. And with the Bufo, I was able to experience myself in my true shamanic way. But with the mushrooms, I was able to revisit all of my past lives. And be and bring forth uh, the lives I have led on Earth. And it's not just like, oh, I'm, tripping or whatever else like this. I mean, because again, this is not anything that you know at home about this the way that these are used.
Yeah.
This is not tripping. This is not that. This is walking you into kind of jailbreaking the matrix and getting beyond time and space to experience yourself and know yourself. And that's really where the lessons are, is in the knowing of yourself in a different way. It was so amazing. I saw and experienced myself throughout time in different iterations as I have been on planet Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you also had some things to work through. You want to share a little bit about what the medicine showed you as far as like in that present moment that we had a few very interesting things happen, as we moved into ceremony. The sun was setting over here, and all of a sudden we were looking, and there's like these. I'm like, I had to do a double take, right?
Oh, me
And there
too,
was
because I couldn't
swarm,
believe my
yeah,
eyes. I
yeah,
didn't know
this
it was
swarm
real.
of flying insects, right?
Swarm. I mean, there had
Yeah,
been a bug. You're 3 stories up in a concrete building. There's no reason for a swarm of bugs to be there. And yet, as we were opening the space for ceremony, and I'm so glad that you were there because I had to check with you, like, am I really experiencing this? And it
yeah,
blackened the sky. There were so many of them. And because they were small little flying like carpenter ants, they looked like little fairies, but it's still
yeah, yeah,
terrifying because there were so many of them. They were descending upon us out of nowhere.
yeah. And they came and they were like our little spirit animals,
Yeah,
during the ceremony,
yeah.
you know. And I think I have discovered that I might have contributed a little bit to that, but somebody probably was working through me, I would imagine, to do that. Yeah, someone's up to no good. But I had just purchased some beautiful trees, right? These beautiful trees here. And there's another one over here, the bougainvillea. And Dale and I had just planted the trees and planted some flowers, and had these big bags of dirt from the nursery. And well, when you bring trees from a nursery that's outside in the jungle, oftentimes little critters, they come along for the ride. And so I have a feeling that we did bring them in with us when we planted the trees, but nevertheless, they didn't come out of the tree pot. They literally came from like the distance. And so I don't know where they came from, but tell us a little bit about what you realized you had to work through.
Right. So, I mean, yeah, they weren't coming off those trees. They were coming from like down the way because they were coming through the window. They weren't
Yeah, yeah,
already there on the patio with us.
right, right,
And
right.
so, as I'm looking at the sun setting, suddenly this swarm of bugs starts coming through the window from outside that I'm like, okay, first of all, am I seeing this? And you were there with me to verify that what was happening was really happening. And then I got this message from your teacher. Was he in India or Mexico at the time?
India.
He was in India. That's what I thought. So your teacher is in India and then suddenly speaking to me as if he was in the room and guiding me through this ceremony. And so the whole experience was just like mind blowing. And I had to keep checking like how is any of this possible? What's going on? And do you remember like me going like this to you because I couldn't like we're instructed not to speak, or really move that much in ceremony. It's a quiet, reflective experience. So I knew I couldn't really talk to you in ceremony, but I was like trying to message to you like, oh my God, like Richie is in my head. He's talking to me. And you're like, yeah, of course he is. Like it's the most natural thing in the world.
I said, listen, listen.
Exactly. So Richie starts instructing me in terms of not only why are these insects like swarming onto us, but also what I was supposed to do with that, what the lesson in that was. And again, it's so mind-blowing. It's hard for me to, and that's why I had to write the book, because I just had to get my feelings and, experience down on paper to not only memorialize it, to remember it, but also to just verify to myself what that was really like. And
Wow.
so, yeah, it was incredible. And Richie was talking me through all my fears and coaching me through, like, in my head. And again, I'm hearing him as if he's in the room. And, I'm just like, how is this possible? And now I had been studying shamanism since I got really sick, especially since 2020. And so I had an understanding of off-grid spaces and time and what was possible in the off-grid. But I mean, I had never experienced it like on that level. So there I am, covered in bugs.
And they didn't do anything to us, but just be there with us, right? They weren't
Right.
eating us, they weren't biting
No,
us. They were just
no.
kind of
And
here.
that's what Richie was coaching me through. He was like, and that was the lesson, is that I was like, and he was like telling me to sit still, that was the lesson. And he said to me specifically, he says, you want to commune with nature, and yet you can't even sit with a couple of house bugs. They won't bite you. They eat wood, not people. Sit still, you antiseptic moron. And that actually made me laugh out loud when he told me that. And that's where the name of the book came from,
Wow.
Antiseptic Moron, because he was not having it. He was like, "Do you want to do this or not?" And he was clear that that was the trial. That was the lesson for me to sit there and have these bugs just go all over me while I'm in ceremony and not flinch and not fuss and not fight, but to surrender. That was the thing. He kept telling me, he's like, you have no practice and you have no surrender.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, he's right. I don't have any practice. I don't have a morning ritual that I use to connect to, self and by extension, everything. I don't have the ability to surrender. It was like, it was the honest truth. And it was through that made me really, for the first time in my life, surrender, covered in bugs, and I'm
Yeah.
being asked to surrender. And that was like, can I do this? Can I offer myself, my physical body in this way? And ultimately it was yes, and they're in my hair, and one's crawling up the crack of my ass.
God. Yeah, 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 yeah. And for me, I was just told, you're on their land. You're on their land. They're not on your land.
Hmm.
You're on their land.
Hmm.
And so they just want to be here with us tonight. And just allow them to be. Don't harm them. Just
Yeah,
you can brush them off,
yeah, yeah,
if like crawling in your whatever.
yeah,
But and just for you at home, I want you to know that that is the only time that's ever happened in any of the ceremonies that I have led all around the world. And so that was specifically designed for Dale. So
yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I mean, again, it was a life-changing experience. And ever since then, and every ceremony after that, I have also been in communication with Richie. Like that process opened up the portal to your teacher for him to be there and guide me through because I was like, can I like remove one or two just like out of my ear? And he was like, yes, but be careful. He was like, they are somebody's spirit animal. I was like, wow. I mean, I mean, these things you never think about, you know what I mean? And he's teaching and guiding me through this very clearly. And I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to not only meet him in the astral, but to still, even this morning, I was communicating with him as I'm fixing breakfast, and he's giving me guidance. And I've never met the man in the physical.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my mentor Richie is incredible, and we work hand in hand during all the retreats that I do. I consult with him on everyone that comes through the retreats. We go over your medical paperwork together. We look at we talk about potential challenges that might arise because he's very in tune and he has the beautiful gift of looking at your picture and knowing everything about you.
Yeah.
He can even look at your picture and tell you how old you were when you experienced what trauma and
Wow.
how it's affecting your body and where what we need to target with the combo and the medicine. And so I this the retreats, while I might be the only physical facilitator that's here, or if it's a larger retreat, if it's more than four people, then we have two facilitators. If it's more than eight, we'll have three facilitators. And so but if even if it's just me and Keegan or me and another facilitator or just me, we have there's a whole lot of other beings that are either here on Earth and just coming in and helping us in the astral, which was like a different plane. Uh, look it up, look it up. But they're here, right, in spirit almost, I guess you could say. And so we're all collaborating during your retreat so that you can have the safest, most beautiful healing experience that exists, right?
Yeah.
So
And
really,
and again, like I didn't believe in any of this, like not really. I mean, like I'd heard about it and I'd studied it, but I didn't know that it was real. And until you've had the opportunity to experience it, like how I knew that it was Richie who was in my head, and he was so clear and so specific that that's who that was. I mean, from the very first moment, and for it to continue, like that channel has been opened, and now I mean he still offers me almost daily guidance and direction. Sometimes he mocks me. He makes fun of me sometimes of what I'm doing because it's clearly insane.
yeah.
It's such a beautiful thing to have that type of guidance and support.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, once you're here, it's like all of my family that's here on earth and my sacred family that's here on earth or even in other realms. This is a family business. This
Hmm.
is a family enterprise. We are all here
Hmm.
when you are here. So it's exciting. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that was a powerful experience for you. Yeah, I remember when you came out of it, you were like, I was in the kitchen. At the end of the ceremony, I go into the kitchen and I prepare fruit. Oh, when we created fruit here on Earth, we did it something really good. But I bring out this big platter of like blueberries and strawberries and raspberries and pineapple, and Dale's like, "Can I talk now?" I'm like, "Yes, yes, yes, yes." It was
Well, what was happening at that moment is like my past lives were stepping into my body and they were like, oh, like I'm back on Earth. Like, and they were looking around and they were speaking in their native tongues through me, which in languages I didn't know, which was, both disconcerting and lovely. But then I just really stepped into it and allowed them to have another moment back on Earth, and to have these past lives keep stepping up into my physical being and have a moment to look around and say something and whatever else that is. I mean, and that's why I needed to talk, because I needed them to be able to have the opportunity to express themselves. It was wild.
absolutely so great. I mean, it's the retreat, it's not about coming here and escaping you or your life. It's about coming here so that you can re-enter the world as you really are, as you truly are.
It's a remembering.
We're remembering.
Hmm.
That's a beautiful remembering.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hmm.
So lovely. And you said earlier that, during your ceremony, Richie said to you, you have no practice, you have no this, you have no that. Can you tell us a little bit about what you learned here when it comes to yeah, I guess what you learned here that has now contributed to you kind of creating your own daily practice?
Yeah, so what I learned the most is that most humans on Earth, especially in the Western world, are seeking pleasure. And I just did a whole video on this on my YouTube channel, about your mind will either seek pleasure because it doesn't know anything else. But after this retreat, my mind doesn't seek pleasure anymore. It seeks devotion. It seeks oneness. It seeks stepping into something so much more sustainable and greater than me, because that pleasure thing, like you go to Disneyland and then Disneyland is done in 3 days and then you're back to pain, and that's not where I want to be anymore. I want to be in the sustained joy of devotion. And every morning now, I mean, I have not missed a morning, nor will I think ever, unless, something really big comes up, because it is the foundation for everything else. It is the foundation for my joy. And it gives and it gives and it gives and it gives in terms of its ability to fill me up with, contentment, happiness. And like I say on a lot of my YouTube videos, that everything that you're looking for on earth, everything that you're seeking can be found in one place. And that's on the other side of stillness. And to check into that stillness in this new way has forever changed me. And you can't kind of unknow what you know once you have the opportunity to experience these things. So the biggest shift for me is having a practice and really abandoning the seeking of pleasure in order to be seeking devotion and all that that means. And now that I know, it's just such a huge, huge gift. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Devotion is our core pillar at the Merkaba Church. The church is built on six pillars: devotion, service, community, prosperity, legacy, and what's the other one? Yes, service,
Sure.
right? Yeah. And so like these are beautiful pillars, but devotion, we have devotion at the top because without devotion, why be here,
Right.
right? And devotion is not necessarily devotion to something outside of you. It's not devotion to a particular religion or a particular deity. It's devotion to you. It's devotion starts with capital S self, right? What do you do for you? How are you devoted to you? Right. And many people come on most of the people that come on these retreats, they have no daily practice, nothing, and as Americans, we often don't because we grow up in this world where it's like, you get up and you hop in the shower and you have some coffee and you're in the car and you're driving to work and you haven't had time to breathe. Right. And so, for me, I get up at 4 in the morning, I make some coffee, I center myself, and then I set myself in outside here in front of my altar with candles lit all around me. I burn copal and incense, and I have some moments where I speak to my higher power or my higher powers or to the all that is. I have some prayers. I do my japa with my mala beads. There's 108 beads here, and with a japa mala, you can say anything to it 108 times, and you're infusing the vibration of what you say into the beads. And it could be a beautiful affirmation like, I am beautiful and prosperous today. I'm
Yeah.
beautiful and prosperous today. Thank you for the healing in my life, or it could be Om Namah Shivaya, or it could be praise the Lord Jesus, or it could be, Om Buddha Om. I don't think you would say that, but whatever. Like I mean, we have the mala and we do our prayers into the mala, and and then after that we move into Kundalini yoga with mantra, which is just so powerful and so beautiful because it gets the prana or the breath moving through the body, and we start at the root chakra and we kind of work ourselves up all the way to the crown, and by the end of yoga, you're like, yeah, ready for the day. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. Because the energy is like flowing through like
Yeah.
all chakras, like, all the way up. And it's really a beautiful practice. So I invite, I do my practice every day starting at 4. And so if you come on a retreat, I just let you know, like, hey, I'll be outside at 4. I usually start my practice around 4:30, and it takes me a little while to wake up. And so I'm like, if you want to join me and kind of just follow along with what I do, you're more than welcome to join me. And if you just want to start your day with yoga, then I will wake you up with coffee. I always come to your room with coffee and a big hug and lots of love and good energy. I come to your room and I wake you up at like 5:15, and then we start Kundalini yoga at 5:30. So you have the option. You can join me in my practice, or you can join me for yoga, and then we can start the day like that. So, and then it's like, it's like what I've been telling people for years in my psychotherapy practice, for especially people that are in recovery. Take what you want and leave the rest behind. So I'm going to show you a way, but my way is not necessarily your way, but you're definitely going to want to take some things, and then you'll go out into the world, right? Like you have, and you've kind of figured out like what mantras work for you and what music works for you and what prayers work for you and what vibration you want to put into your mala every day. And that could even change, and that evolves, like our morning devotional practice evolves over time. With Kundalini Yoga, they suggest that you stick to a certain Kriya for 40 days. They've actually found through research that if you do the same Kriya, which is like a set of exercises for 40 days, there's significant results that come, as a result of changing the vibration in your body and your spirit. So, but yeah, you'll find your way. You'll find your way, and those beautiful souls who have come on these retreats, who go home and continue to wake up every morning and practice their devotion, are the ones that are really thriving today. And there are a few people that, do go home after their retreats and they don't continue doing what they were doing during the retreats. And then it's like during the retreat you delete old programs that no longer serve you, and then we start installing new programs, right? And so you go back and you're operating out of these new programs as you're creating your own new programs. But if you go back and you're not accessing the new programs, those old programs will show up and be like, install me again, I'm right here. Install me
Habits.
again, I'm right here.
Yeah.
And yeah, if you don't keep up with the maintenance steps, you can very easily go back into what
Yeah.
was,
Yeah.
in a different way, of course, because you've disintegrated the onion, but you can definitely reinstall old programs if you're not using the new ones. So yeah, I've loved watching you grow in your devotion and your love for yourself and for, the all that is. And it's just been such a beautiful process to witness. And I'm so honored that I was chosen to be your guide for this process. So
Well,
yeah.
thank you. I feel the same. It was a beautiful experience, and we should have another conversation about integration because that was difficult for me. It was difficult for me to come back into the Western world after having basically been stripped down to the emotions of like a baby, a newborn, and then suddenly you're put into this Western world where everyone's laughing about entertainment, where people are slaughtering one another, and you're just like, oh
Yeah,
my gosh. Is this really what we're doing here on Earth? So we'll have another conversation about that and the upkeep. And like you said, me finding my way with my own practice because I wasn't here to put on earth to do your practice. I was here to do my practice, and I had to go on this discovery, of what that meant and what felt right to me. And so we'll have another conversation about that. But I thank you so much for today. This has really been great, hopefully enlightening to some people at home who are maybe considering doing such a thing, maybe some people who have some fears. I know I sure did. And so I think that's why this is important to continue these conversations.
absolutely. And if you're interested in learning more about me or Dale, or the Merkaba Church or Merkaba Retreats, please visit merkabachurch.com or merkabaretreats.com. And on our websites, there's tons of information about what we're doing. There's information about Lumara. There's information about Habitual Prosperity, which is a beautiful branch of the Merkaba Church that Dale and I have co-founded. That was Dale's brainchild for 10 years before, and we just launched, this spring, and just completed our sixth group last night, which is really exciting. It's like a mastermind group for spiritual entrepreneurs. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. And we are, and we're expanding, and we're looking for other ways that we can serve humanity. And so if you're interested in being part of that, and you have a branch or something that you're doing, let us know. Feel free to reach out. You can reach me at Christopher@merkabachurch.com. Dale's at Dale@merkabachurch.com. We are also on Facebook and Instagram, and pretty soon we'll be launching the Merkaba Church YouTube channel, so you'll want to check that out. Our home base here is in Bucerias. You would fly into Puerto Vallarta, and we have a number of those retreats. Kind of there, everything is so tentative, right? It's not. We have retreats scheduled, but oftentimes they might shift and move, depending on who's
People's
signed up, who's not signed up, and so forth. And so, but our website does have a list of dates for the retreats that are coming up. So definitely check out the websites for the dates that are coming up. And if you can't make those dates and you want to do a private retreat with me, then contact me and we'll find a time that works for you. I also travel, anywhere in the world, and so we can make that work as well. I do think there's something really sacred and special about coming here because it gets you away from your environment, right? Where you can like turn your phone off, and you don't have to worry about feeding the kids or feeding the dogs or having people bother you, so it's beautiful to kind of come down here and kind of be forced to get away from all of that. So I do highly recommend something like that. But something that's also beautiful that can happen is, if you're in a partnership, right? And you want to experience this with your partner or your spouse or your kids. I have, we're doing a retreat in August with two groups, a mother and son and a mother and son. And the sons are best friends and the mothers are really close. And so it's going to be a beautiful healing experience
Wow.
for them, to experience together and collectively. And so, you might have a group of your besties and you might all want to get together and maybe you want to get together in Colorado,
Yeah.
where, psilocybin ceremonies are legal.
Hmm.
Namah Shivaya. Thank you. Thank you. Colorado. We hope that all the other states will follow suit, but wherever, like, it's like we can figure that out.
Yeah.
And this is really big. This is really big. A lot of people say to me, wow, the retreat costs how much? And I'm like, typically for retreats can range depending on the location, right? Because if we're doing a retreat in an exotic locale, it might be more expensive because maybe where the Airbnb or the resort that we've booked is really expensive. Other retreats, like we're going to be doing one with one of the other branches of the Merkaba Church called Sacred Adventures that kicks off in December. That will be in Ganeshpuri, which is in India. I think that retreat, the cost for that retreat is like $2,800 or something like that. And then, of course, you have to pay for your airfare. But,
Mm.
because the things in India are a lot cheaper than they are in the States, we're able to offer retreats for a lower cost. Here in Mexico, our retreats range from $4,444 up through $5,555. And then other parts of the world, it could go up, could go down. It just depends. So really contact me and I'll let you know. But this is really exciting. We are now offering PayPal later. So you can pay with PayPal and you can take advantage of their PayPal later option, which means you could pay off your retreat in payments.
Mm,
So
nice.
there really is no excuse.
Hmm. Yeah,
It's time for freedom, baby. It's time
that's
for
right.
freedom. And we are
Yeah.
here for you. We are
Yeah.
here.
Because
So
this will affect all else. This will affect, especially the company that you keep and the opportunities that these people provide for you. I mean, my businesses are going through the roof just because of the love and support that I received in this new family I belong to.
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Christopher. This has been really amazing. It's always wonderful to talk to you. Again, I can't thank you enough for all that you have facilitated me in my life.
You're welcome.
All
Have a
right.
good day.
All right. Thanks. We'll talk next time.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye.